Scalia died recently. He's a Supreme Court justice, and President Obama is considering who to nominate him. The Republicans say they're going to block everybody. President Obama thinks, oh, I'll be cute. Maybe I'll nominate Republican Governor Brian Sandoval from Nevada. He's pro-choice. On everything else, he's largely Republican, but hey, he agrees with us on one issue. And on gay rights, he says he won't fight anymore on that issue. Wow, is he not merciful? Okay. I think that's a preposterous idea. I know that the American people are on his side because I'm not guessing. Here, let me tell you what the Hill says. 56% of Americans believe the Senate should hold hearings and vote on Obama's nominee, according to a Pew Research Center survey released this week. So you got the American people on your side. What are you nominating a Republican for? You crazy? They think they're playing three-dimensional chess, right? Oh, if we nominate a Republican, when the Republicans oppose him, which they did, right? Then the American people will see how unreasonable they are. Yay, you're playing patty cakes. Nobody's paying attention to that. At the end of explaining what's going on here, I'm going to explain to you what he should have done. But first, let me give you more facts here. A senior Democratic aide says, this is not a judge fight. It's so much more. It's about Obama being denied the common courtesy given to every president before. The options are unlimited. We just have to not screw it up. Well, I think you're well on your way to screwing it up. But the reason I give you that quote is, look at how weak the Democrats are. It's the common courtesy. No, it's not a courtesy. It's a constitutional mandate. The president must nominate a Supreme Court justice. He would be derelict in his duties if he didn't. No president's left the Supreme Court open for 10 months and decided not to pick one. Of course he's going to pick one. And it is the constitutional duty of the Republicans to hold hearings on it. If they don't, they're in violation of the Constitution. This has nothing to do with courtesy. Get a backbone. Okay. Senator Chris Murphy has an obnoxious quote here that I want to give you. He's a Democrat. He said, the president is going to be committed to going around the country and drumming up support for our nominee, and Hillary Clinton is likely going to see this as a very potent wedge issue on the campaign trail. You get it? So, well, obviously, Hillary Clinton's going to win. And then us clever Democrats in Washington have decided that by picking a Republican for the Supreme Court, we will somehow convince the country that you should vote for Democrats. Oh, that's so three-dimensional. That's so smart. And of course, it's not going to be Bernie Sanders. Don't be ridiculous. No, us Democrats in Washington have decided it's Hillary Clinton, and this will help her greatly. Oh, we're so smart. Okay. Jon Stewart, then on the other hand, speaking for the Republicans and Mitch McConnell, says, the leader welcomes the opportunity to reiterate to the president directly that the American people will be heard on this matter, and the nomination will be determined by whoever wins the presidency in the fall. Well, I got good news for you, Jon Stewart. The American people already decided that. His name is Barack Obama. That was in the fall of 2012. He serves a 4-year term. So, again, in 1 second, I'm going to tell you what I'd do to Jon Stewart. But I want to give you one more Republican. Chuck Grassley, he's the head of the Judiciary Committee. He's the one that gets to decide whether we have hearings or not. Longtime Republican. And he also, by the way, in the last year of Ronald Reagan's presidency, did vote to confirm a Republican nominee. Of course. But he says, do you think I spend my days wondering about how Chuck Grassley will go down in history? I don't care if I ever go down in history. Dude, who asked you about history? Okay, this guy is obsessed, of course, with his legacy, as all these silly politicians are, and he's like, so, history, I don't care about how I look in history. I don't care. Apparently you care about how you look in history, otherwise you wouldn't have given that random quote. And then he says, quote, I'm here to do my job. No, but Chuck, you're here to do the exact opposite. Your job is to hold hearings as the head of the Judiciary Committee. That is exactly what your job is, and you are now saying, I will not do my job. Okay, so if I were Obama, I wouldn't play patty cakes with these guys like, oh, what if I nominate one of you guys? Put the cup in front of you, right? No. You show strength. Okay, here's the 4-part thing I would do. I'd call the press conference and I'd say, I got news for the Republicans. I won. You lost. I got a second piece of news for you guys. My term is 4 years. It's in the Constitution. Look it up. No, you don't have to look it up. And then I do a giant graphic behind me in the Oval Office. And I'd read the Constitution. That explains the president serves for 4 years. Not 3 years, 4 years. Now, if you didn't want me to serve for 4 years, and you didn't want me to do anything on my last year, well, you had a great opportunity. It was called the 2012 election. Sorry, I kicked your ass. Now, the most important part of this is that wasn't me versus Mitt Romney. That was the American people making a decision on which way they would like to go. They were very clear because I routed them, so they weren't stuttering. They weren't unsure. You know who they wanted to be their leader, who would nominate Supreme Court justices? All right, me. You know how long they wanted me to do that? All right, for 4 years. So you're going to sit here and violate the clear wishes of the American people? You're going to clearly violate the Constitution? Well, I don't think so. I'm the president, and I'm going to nominate whoever I like. And your job is to sit there and have hearings about it. Now, for the press, I need you to say it, right? Now, I told you that these Republicans were obstructionists. You kept calling it even. It's not even. They've broken a record on filibusters, and here they are. They're obstructing everything in our path, right? So no. I'm not like, hoping you figure out that if I put Sandoval in, then and they say no, that maybe you'll write an article about it. No. If you're in the press, I need you to do your job. Be objective, not neutral. Be objective. What are the objective facts here? The Republicans say that they will violate the Constitution and not hold hearings, even though that is their constitutional duty. In fact, I believe we should start impeachment proceedings on every Republican in the Senate. If they refuse to uphold their oath in office, we need to have that conversation. Now, one more thing, and I'll tell you why you need to frame it this way. If I'm the president, who am I going to go for? Sandoval? By the way, Sandoval withdrew today from consideration, saying he doesn't want to be a pawn in this politics. So, no. Here's what I would have said to the Republicans. I'm going to start with Alan Grayson. And every time you say no, I'm going to go to a more liberal person. By the end, I'm going to get the brother Cornel West. Okay, God help you if you lose that election. And every time I'm going to come out here and say, this is the 13th person I have nominated to the Supreme Court. When are these guys going to do their job? When are they going to uphold the Constitution? Okay, tell me again who won in 2012. Tell me again how many years that term is. You know what the answer is. Shove it down their throat, okay? Don't play patty cakes. You're not playing three-dimensional chess. You're playing checkers. Because this is all in the framing. You know what works in politics? Strength. The frame you have presented is, the Republicans are right. We should put a Republican on the Supreme Court. The Republicans are blocking me, and I will reward them by putting up a Republican on the Supreme Court. Are you mental? No, the answer is a liberal is the president of the United States of America because the American people demanded it. You know who we're going to put on the Supreme Court? A liberal. That's because that's what the American people wanted. That is not in dispute. If you like, you could ask President Romney. Oh, that's right. There is no President Romney because I kicked his ass. Okay? And Republicans have at it, but I'm going to keep on nominating. And every time, they're going to get more liberal. And what do? You exude strength. Nobody's paying attention to your reindeer games in Washington. The voters out there, they don't know who Sandoval is. You think you tricked the Republicans and you asked the media to pretty please cover how they were obstructionists on Sandoval? Nobody knows Sandoval. You do a press conference and you do one day after day after day saying, let's go over this again one more time. Who's the president? Right, me. How long do I serve? Right, 4 years. Who gets to nominate Supreme Court justices? Goddamn right, President of the United States of America. And every day you bring out that Constitution and you put it in the face of the media and then you say to the Republicans, and by the way, this isn't like, oh, I feel good because I feel tough guy. No, it's politics. This is actually three-dimensional chess. Then you say, now, we're going to keep doing this every day until I see poll numbers in places like Ohio and New Hampshire where there are close Senate races. And I bet you every day I do a press conference and say your Republican senator will not uphold the Constitution, his poll numbers go down. And you know what happens when his poll numbers go down in an election year? He buckles. He doesn't buckle in Ohio because, or Wisconsin or New Hampshire, and all these close races, because you're talking about Sandoval in Washington. Nobody in Wisconsin knows what the hell you're talking about with Sandoval. They do change if you get up there every single day as the President of the United States and say, you put me here. The American people put me here to do a job, and God damn it, I'm going to do that job. People pay attention to that kind of strength. That moves poll numbers, which moves politicians, which then gets a progressive on the Supreme Court. Go ahead, keep playing your checkers. You think you're so clever. You're not at all clever. Young Turks.